and today I'll be reading both the 5th and the 6th chapters of the Bald Bandit since they are a bit shorter. So let's get started. So, Chapter 5. He's bald? Josh said, climbing Ruth Rose's front steps. Dink had run right home from the barber shop and called Josh. Now they were picking up Ruth Rose so they could go to Robin Road together. That's what Howard said, Dink told Josh. He pushed the doorbell. So that's why we didn't spot him at the high school, Josh said. Come in, Ruth Rose screamed from inside. Ruth Rose was sitting on the floor watching a video with her 4-year-old brother, Nate. Come on, Ruth Rose, I think we found the redhead, Dink said. We're going to his house. Ruth Rose jumped up and screamed, I'm leaving with the guys, Mom. Watch Nate. Dink and Josh covered their ears. Ruth Rose told Nate, You stay right here and wait for Mommy, okay? Nate nodded and kept his eyes on the TV set. Let's go. Ruth Rose led the way back to the door and skipped down the front steps. How'd you find the kid? She asked. Dink explained how he hadn't been able to get the shoe polish out of his hair. That made me think about cutting my hair off. And that made me think about the barber shop. Who would know all the redheads in Green Lawn? Howard the barber, she screamed. The boys covered their ears again. I'm going to need a hearing aid like old Mr. Kramer, Josh muttered. Dink looked up O'Leary in the phone book to get the address on Robin Road. They stopped in front of the house number 33. It was a big blue house with toys and bikes and sneakers and basketballs all over the lawn. Loud music came out from the front door. They walked onto the porch and stepped over a baseball bat. 4 pumpkins sat in a row, all carved with scary faces. Dink rang the bell. Keep your fingers crossed, he said. A little girl opened the door. Picture. She had red hair and a face full of freckles. Hi, I'm Josephine, and I'm 5.5. She held up 10 fingers. Is your brother home? Dink asked. Which one? I have this many. Josephine held up 10 fingers again. Dink laughed. Do you have a big brother named Lucky? The music went off. Who's out there, Joe? A voice called. A tall, skinny teenager wearing torn jeans and a t-shirt came up behind Josephine. Dink noticed red fuzz covering his head, like a new red lawn. Are you Lucky O'Leary? Dink asked. The kid looked down Dink and Josh and Ruth Rose. Who wants to know? We do, Ruth Rose said. How do you like to earn some money? I might, he said. We're looking for a kid who got the Green Lawn bank robber on video last week, Dink said. The bank hired a detective to find the video, and we're helping the detective. He's paying us to get the video, and we'll split the money with you. If you're the kid, I mean. Are you? Ruth Rose asked. The kid rubbed the top of his fuzzy red head. Yeah, he muttered. I'm the guy. Then he crossed his arms. But I'm not giving my tape to any detective. Chapter 6. The kids stared at Lucky. Why not? Ruth Rose asked. The detective is helping the bank find the robber. You could be a hero. Shh, said Lucky. He looked around nervously. Then he beckoned Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose inside. Come on. Inside Lucky's house, the kids followed him down a hallway into his bedroom. Dink noticed that he was limping. His room had posters of basketball players on the walls. There were clothes all over the floor. Lucky flopped down on his bed. Listen, he said. I'm afraid to give that tape to the detective. What if the robber found out I handed it over? With my luck, he'd come after me. How would the robber know it was you who taped him? Dink asked. Lucky sat up. Because he looked right at me when he ran out of the bank. The guy saw me taping him. That's why I ran to Howard's to get my head shaved. Lucky scratched his fuzzy head. But if you turn in the tape, the robber will get caught. Then you won't have to worry about him at all, said Josh. Besides, we'll give you half of our reward, Ruth Rose said. Right, guys? Right, Dink said. Is Lucky your real name? The kid shook his head. It's Paul. Lucky is my nickname. People call me that because I always have such rotten luck. Since school started, my dog died, my bike got stolen, and I broke my toe. I can barely walk to school. You can buy a new bike with the reward money, Ruth Rose said. Then you won't have to walk. Lucky smiled at Ruth Rose. I'm saving all my money for college, he said. Then he sighed. It seems like I'll never get enough. Lucky thought for a minute. Listen, that reward money would really help, he said. But you guys have to promise not to tell who gave you the video. They all nodded. Okay, said Lucky. He got off the bed and limped over to his closet. He pulled a box from the top shelf. The box was filled with videotapes. He handed one of the tapes to Dink. Lucky looked embarrassed. When can I get the money? He asked. Maybe tomorrow, Dink said. We'll let you know, okay? Sure, that'll be fine, said Lucky. He pretended to zip his lips closed. And remember, you promised not to tell anyone where you got the video. Not even that detective. The kids nodded again. Lucky walked them to the door, stepping around a pile of kids wrestling on the living room floor. Dink noticed they all had red hair and freckles. Josephine popped up out of the pile. Bye, she said, smiling at Dink. As soon as they were on the sidewalk, Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose high-fived each other. We got it, Josh yelled. Dink slipped the tape into his pocket. Now we just have to call Detective Reddy and get our money. And that is the end of chapter 6. So I'll be reading chapter 7 in the next video, and thank you for tuning to Storytime with Leos, and I'll see you guys next time.